As you may have heard, this September there was a tropical storm in the San Bernardino Mountains around the Angeles Oaks area surrounding our camp. So I sat down with a few of our Southern California Conference leaders who have been most involved in this project to talk about what happened, how our camp was affected, and our path forward. We know that in September, we had a storm that was impacting the camp in the San Bernardino Mountains. Now, tell me about what happened when that storm came into the area and how that impacted the camp.
So we received the news that there was a strong storm developing in the area. But immediately after that, we also heard that the river that passes right besides our camp, it crosses our camp right next to the lodge underneath, basically. Um, there was an increased level of that river. And we were seeing videos of basically a mudslide coming through. At that time, we did not know the extent of that damage. We just knew that there was a mudslide and there were heavy storms in the area.
We realized that the area above our camp had been destroyed by fire. And that's the area that's beside the creek that goes into our camp. And the mudslide came out of that area. And it brought down trees and mud and boulders. Some of the boulders were as large as a small car. And just brought them through, and in the end, the effects were quite dramatic. We didn't know about then, but quite dramatic.
But that's when the first miracle happened. That even though the news were alarming as we were receiving them, we heard that there was a family out in a hike. They had just been in one of the hanging bridges that we had in that area. And they were taking pictures. And when it started raining, they said, why don't we go back to camp? And it happened maybe 10, 15 minutes later that they saw this mudslide coming through. Had they not gone back to camp, the hanging bridge was wiped out completely. And that was the first miracle of God supporting us through this very difficult time.
The first of many.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, you mentioned about the bridge that was wiped away. So what was the extent of the impact? So the bridge and the mudslides, what was the extent to our camp of the impact of this storm?
Yeah, so as we were receiving reports, pictures, and trying to assess the damage, there were a lot of things that were unknown. But immediately we were seeing also from the government entities that control or take care of the roads, they were posting also on social media pictures of mudslides in the area, pictures of damages to the roads and so on. And we were able to see that up on Highway 38, there was a complete washed out of the road. And that's when we started seeing how extensive the damage was of this rain's mudslides that happened in the area. So like it was mentioned, the fire that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago was not only the damage of the fire itself, but everything else that it triggered. Everything was out of balance. Nature, it's not recovered, basically. So there's a lot of loose dirt. Trees are not where they're supposed to be, holding on to basically that mountain, those hills. And also the animals, the animals, they've relocated, they've changed locations. So there's been a lot of changes in the area due to the fires. So one of the major problems that we have is that the Road 38 right now is disconnected. And the section is right above our camp, not about the first entrance, but by the second entrance. So near the second entrance, the Highway 38, a big section, it's completely washed out.
In fact, I would say it's longer than a football field that's been taken out. And probably the depth of it probably goes down to about 4 or 5 stories as it goes down, and it just got washed. Mud, all of it, the whole road got washed out completely as it went down the creek.
Yeah. And as it was coming down, it was bringing huge trees, boulders, everything, and it was just destroying everything along the way. And one of the things that was damaged, and it's affecting greatly our camp, it's our water system. We have 2 big tanks that supply water for our camp. One of the tanks, which is the larger one, is not damaged. But the plumbing itself, the connection from that big tank to the second tank, it's completely disconnected. So that's the part that right now we're trying to assess what is going to be the cost of to repair that damage. But there's been many blessings along the way also.
In addition to that, we heard about it on the 18th, I think, September, and it wasn't until the 25th that I was able to go up there. I think we both went up on the 25th to assess it. And the other part of the water system that we noticed got taken out was our collection of the water. Because we had a sand trap, an area where you kind of directed the water towards our piping system, and then it would filter out the sand, and then the water would go down to the holding tank where we could treat it and then pump it into the larger tank. And that was taken out too. So we have no access to that water coming in anymore. And then, of course, between the 2 tanks that's all gone. And so it has to be engineered. And we haven't received that engineering yet. But it was interesting that the road got wiped, our secondary road got taken out where the creek crosses the road. It just ripped it open. I mean, there was a piece of heavy concrete, kind of like a bridge over the culvert, and it just ripped that completely out. A tree that was way above us in the creek got ripped out by its roots and came down and to the area where the bridge was. It went down and smashed into the trees that was holding our tree house, and didn't just take the tree house out; it took the trees out. And of course with it, the hanging bridge, and went on down the creek, down to the gully below.
Yeah.
Pretty damaging.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the infrastructure in the camp that was impacted. And then since the area around our camp was also impacted, it wasn't just contained to within our camp. So it's not our own infrastructure, but the camp was also without power due to the storm as well. And so just completely, as you said, just wiping out different parts of the camp.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't use the camp. We had the camp was booked up all the way through December, and we had to cancel all of those because no electricity and no water.
Yeah. Yeah. And additionally, so there was that portion that you spoke about just past the camp of Highway 38 that was washed out. But in addition to that, even though it was past the camp, there still wasn't access to the camp. Is that right?
Correct, because they closed Highway 38 down by Angeles Oaks. So there's no way to get to the camp without going through Caltrans permission.
Yeah.
So we couldn't have the camp open.
Yeah. Yeah. So this happened in the middle of September. So we've been, as you mentioned, going to the camp, assessing the damage, and seeing what we can do, what we need to do in terms of our infrastructure. Now, what has happened since then? So it's already December as we're seeing this video. So what has happened since then? What is the current situation?
So there has been not a definitive timeline because there's a lot of unknowns. Yeah. So we have been kind of building up the plan as we go. The first thing is we had to go up there and see for our own what had happened at camp. We went up that paved road that was destroyed. We basically had to go over, over some rocks, and to get to there, it was not an easy access. But we went, we assessed the area, and we said, how are we going to be able to move forward from this? And like I said, a lot of uncertainty was at that point. But the amazing thing that we have been able to see is that every step along the way, God has been providing an answer. And it's been just the next step. You know, I would like to see kind of the whole plan layout and say, hey, you know what, everything has been solved. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I've seen God leading us step by step. We needed water. We were able to receive some water. We needed the road to be repaired. We were able to get that repaired. Now we're waiting for the next steps of getting the water system back and running. So it's been a slow process, but every step along the way that we've needed to move forward, God has provided a solution. So right now, we still don't have a timeline, and we're running out of time because the winter season it's very basically here. You know, so the snow will be coming into our camp, and basically in a normal year, after the 10th of December, I would say, the reservations decrease because of snow, slow access, people on vacation, and so on. And it's a very slow season for us, mid-December all the way to January. Somewhere around mid-January towards closer to February, it starts picking up again. But right now, we're trying to keep camp up and running. You know, during COVID, we were not operational during COVID, and we kept camp running because we believe that it's a place of ministry. We believe it's a place that churches and schools come together. And we want to make sure that when we do open up, we are able to provide the same quality of service.
Yeah. And I know that we'll talk about that even more throughout the time. I appreciate how you were saying, you know, each step of the way, one step by one step, right? God has been showing us that he's in control, that ultimately our camp is in his hands,
Yes.
right? And so it's challenging to see these things happen, but he's been showing us his faithfulness through the way.
Amen.
I mean, it's amazing if you think about it. The two major, the largest sections that were damaged, the most costly, is the water system and the road. And I don't know how much they got worth. You know, the road's probably $300,000 to $450,000 worth of damage. You know, the water system I have no way to calculate, but it's going to has to be engineered. It's going to be many thousands of dollars, and we just haven't got a price. But we're able to meet with construction companies and water system people, and meet with our insurance people all together, able to walk through that. And it's a miracle in itself to getting all three people at the same time we're there to share about the need, and then to have someone contribute to us the road that we're able to have it fixed. So the road's fixed, usable.
Amen.
I mean, that's a miracle in itself. So quickly, it's done, and we can use it. So you can come down one side, you can come down the main road, and out the secondary road if you want to, and which was not possible before. And so this is something we can offer in order for people to work on the Highway 38. So we're really thankful for that beyond ourselves, because we were not the only people affected. I mean, in many ways, the effect on Camp Cedar Falls, while it's expensive, no infrastructure except for the road and water systems were destroyed. No homes, no buildings. The lodge is still intact, the nature center, and yet in other areas, cars and houses got damaged, severely damaged in some of the mudslides. And so we're real fortunate, I think. And it's come together in a beautiful way. God's overseeing it. I don't know the water system. I in my great patience that I do not possess, would like to know the answer to the water
We all
system.
would like to.
I'd like to see the cost and be able to present to the insurance company and what's the next step. But we continue to wait for that report.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been able to see these progressions throughout the repair project, right? Now, what do we have to share when it comes to, so the secondary road has been repaired. We've been talking about updates with the water system. What updates might we have when it comes to the bridge and the treehouse that were talked about earlier?
Well, I tell you that those are two items that probably, and again, I don't know the insurance situation, but probably or maybe not included in insurance replacement. I'm one we have to have a bridge across that creek to reach the other side. So one has to be built so that we can access trails on the other side of the creek. So what's that will look like, I don't know. We haven't, that's kind of in the future. The treehouse, I've stated this. Treehouse has been one of the features that that kids love to come to. They love to sleep in the treehouse. I'd love to have another treehouse. Whether or not that treehouse will be in the middle of a creek or not, I'm not sure the wisdom of that. Now that we know the destruction that being caused, maybe it can overlook, but not inside or basically right down in the gully itself.
Perhaps that could be part of some future phase or different plans that we have, as there's lots of different things happening with the camp that we'll talk about in a few minutes moving forward. So we'll see as you were talking about, continue to see the best plans for the camp and the best places to put things and bring together a camp that will continue in this conference.
Within this context, I think that in the midst of this destruction that happened in the creek, and all this with the bridges and also the tree house, probably this is an opportunity to begin to rethink and see new ways how the camp can serve in a different way to our constituency, our children, our young people, our young adults and families, and that is something that is an opportunity in the midst of this unfortunate situation that happened. Also, it's an opportunity to begin to rethink and to envision for the camp.
Yeah. And this camp has been part of our conference for more than 80 years.
85 years.
85 years. And so as we have this rich history and legacy of this camp in our conference, and you're talking about different ways that we can rethink and continue to grow the offerings of this camp, how are we approaching that in a strategic way? So we've had some challenges recently with the camp that are encouraging us to think about things in a new way. But even before that happened, we've also had a strategy. We've also had a way to look toward the future and even continue to build up our camp. So let's talk a little bit about some of that vision that we have for the future, for the next generation and the future of our camp.
Well, I know in September of last year, I was elected to this position of being president, and there's several goals that I had in mind, and one of the goals is Camp Cedar Falls. Because to me, we either bring that camp back, and when I say that, there's a lot there already. It's very usable. But, anything in the mountains deteriorates. You have to keep it up, and we haven't been able to keep up the maintenance of everything, and it really needs some refreshing, but it also needs some new features and some other reasons today to bring people to that camp. And so I took it to the executive committee and asked them, one, sell the camp, which of course, 100% no.
No.
At that moment, they were going to take me back to the constituency and have me demoted quickly. But I said, well, the other thing is we could start a visioning committee, a team of people who we could put together that would recognize that this camp needs some thought and some new ideas, because we can fix things but not know where we're going. So we better know where we're going before we start fixing this and that and relocating items. And so the committee, the executive committee, voted to have a visioning. We call the Vision 25 committee for a vision of what's happening between now and 25 years from now. And I was thankful that they also took a recommendation to have Valino Salazar, who knows a little bit about this conference, to become the chairman of that committee and oversee that. And Valino was gracious enough to say yes. And so he's overseeing a committee, a vision committee, that we're looking at this camp. In fact, when I heard about the storm that destroyed this, our road, I said, God, what are you doing? We're trying to go forward here. You're taking us backwards. I thought we crossed the Red Sea. I don't want to go back, But, then I realized God says, hey, I got things in hand. I'm in charge, not you. And at least we got the attention of the whole conference on Cedar Falls.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping to unpack this in the near future, this vision that's being put together in the committee that Valino is overseeing as the chairman.
Yeah, so as we move forward to the repairs that remain from the storm that happened, we kind of have a path forward of not only those repairs, but also this vision that we're looking toward, right? So it's kind of moving forward with both of these goals, this vision that we've had and continuing to move toward that while also integrating kind of the repairs that need to happen as a result of this storm. So maybe tell us a little bit about the recent work of this committee and the role of the committee in moving forward with what our camp has been through.
A year ago, when Elder Kress began to talk to me about this, he used a key word. What is the potential of Camp Cedar Falls? That word, the potentiality of this 84 now. Next year is going to be 85. 85th anniversary of having this camp. In reality, as this has been looking at, there's a lot of potential that we need to be intentional. And I recognize that we have not been too intentional in the past, but I think that now that the new administration has this vision, now this can be reignited. And when Elder Kress mentioned to form the committee, and the officers, they mentioned another key word. Let's bring a specialist into this committee. When I asked what kind of a specialty are you looking for, so then they mentioned marketing. Number 2 is restructure, engineering, architecture, and finances, of course, and in other areas that really the committee had to be a person comprised of that. So then we began to have conversation with the region directors, and they recommended names because they have been having contact with the local churches, and they identify individuals, and so then they recommended names. Fortunately, those individuals, right now we have a committee of especially 15 lay members. Some of them, they are working as architects in insurance, in finance, and management, and development projects, practically making possible those projects. So then this is the composition of that committee. And obviously, and the officers are involved in this. And we have pastors also there. But the core of a specialty on this are our members who they have been trained and they have been working on this on a daily basis. And this is a great blessing.
Yeah. It seems like kind of as we talked about earlier, so we have this team of specialists and experts that you're talking about that has been in place as this committee was created. And then we come into this situation where the storm comes over the camp and we have all these different ways that the camp is impacted. And yet, as we talked about earlier, we've seen God's blessings and helping to get certain things repaired even now. And as we move forward, we have this team in place already who knows about different things that are pertinent to the camp. And it seems like we have things in place that we're not just one person trying to fix this huge situation, but we have things in place already. And that maybe could be even God working ahead of time in another way, helping us to put that in place.
We began, our first meeting was in March. As of now, we have met 5 times. In one of those 5 times in May, the committee, we had a field trip to Camp Cedar Falls. It was an awesome experience. Some of them, they visited the camp many years ago and so on, others recently. But as a committee, as we traveled, we had the opportunity to go and see and envision in that very site. When we were coming back, Elder Kress, he took the initiative to begin to ask every single person about the impressions that they had. And it was very, very important. We collected this information, and in our next meeting, we began to discuss this, and pretty much we already have a list of items that we already have been classified, and some of those who are important, others have been urgent, and others, a dream that we can have.
Yeah.
And one of the dreams that I have been having is to have some of these zip lines. Okay, we have right there the forest. We have the trees, and I think that would be good. Maybe when I can go even with my cane or my walker. And if I've been being tied completely, I can run on those zip lines and have this experience.
You see, Valino and I and Kathleen all got to experience zip lines
Yeah.
That's right.
together. Remember?
Remember, yes.
On an administrative, with the union administrative committee, and a retreat that we had. And we went up and did zip lines together.
Oh, what's exciting.
That was fun. And zip lines, but there's many features that we could have, because if you think about it, our camp is just up the hill from Loma Linda, from universities, from major businesses that do leadership training, and from many churches, from Riverside all the way into our conference. And there's no reason why our camp cannot become a hub of activity for training and equipping leaders and youth and churches if we have the right infrastructure built and the right activities for them to go through. And so we're thinking of things like the ropes course that could be a great, attribute greatly to the leadership training and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing and it's exciting as we're starting to think about and talk about all of these things. So we started the conversation with some challenges that, of course, are certainly still there, but some challenges that we encountered at Camp Cedar Falls recently, and yet we still have these positive and exciting things in our path to look forward to with Camp Cedar Falls. With some of this vision, and as these repairs move forward, we have exciting things in our future for Camp Cedar Falls.
A couple of things that really there. Obviously, we live in a very urban area. So the kids and young people, they are used to some of this. But at the same time, we have something in nature. So then the vision that our conference leadership has is to have combine both things, nature and also some of the fun things that we can have. Chris, his dream is one day to be in one of those go-karts and have running there and going up and down. So anyway, that is something that is going to be fun to have this in the midst of nature.
Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities ahead. Yeah,
There really is. And, when we looked at our list, we have quite a few urgent and maintenance items. Some items that can make a huge difference immediately.
Please tell it.
The major auditorium itself has no restrooms hooked directly to it. What if we had some restrooms that were hooked directly to it? How much more useful could that be for those who need that quickly? It add to the usability of that space. But what about if you put some of the large cabins? If you put a restroom and shower in those, you know, I found out you're talking about nature. You know, those who live in nature, they probably don't need that. But those who live in the city, they come up there and they look around, and you expect them to go where?
Yeah.
You know, and
More
so
sophisticated.
there's more expectation of something a little closer than going outside through the snow or rain or whatever over to some community restrooms or showers. And so those are just dreams that we have. But the possibilities go on from there. From years ago, there was a gathering area, amphitheater, overlooking the creek into the canyon. And it's so in disrepair, it's not even used today. And yet it's a great spot, a wonderful spot for the campers to come and gather and have a worship or meditate. It's a wonderful place to go out in nature. We need to get that redone. We need to be able to go there and experience a sunset. We need to go there and experience each other in fellowship outside. And so there are these kind of repairs that need to be done just to use the camp the way it is, let alone some of the major possibilities we have to expand the camps to be used more broadly in leadership trainings and universities and businesses actually renting it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of leads to my next question. So we talked about how we have some preparation already, right? We have a team of experts. We have outlined already what we know needs to happen next. And so we're already we have the steps laid out. But what more, if people watching this video are excited by the plans like we are, right? And seeing the different needs that arise out of what recently happened, what are some of the ways that people watching might be able to help? So they might be able to see the different things that are coming ahead and the places that we need to go, but how might they be able to contribute or support or help with the steps that are coming next?
May I? This was one of the points in the conversation with the committee. That, for instance, sometimes it's easier to open the wallet and give money. But in reality, the committee is envisioning to have a couple of days or some days when members can go there and help there with hands and donating their time, have a kind of big work that can be done. And somebody suggested that we can ask and have different tasks and ask, which church wants to do this? So then a church will go, they will know ahead what they will be doing and working on this section, another one on this section, and this will bring ownership. And say, okay, we went and we helped in this, we helped in that. So then, yes, money is going to be needed, but Jesus said, what is our heart is going to be our treasure. So then when we give our time, our talents, the rest will come. Jesus said it. So that's what the committee right now they're envisioning at this time. Giving the opportunity for the churches to go and participate in fixing the camp. Something that can be done. Obviously, there are other things that we will need big machines to do things, but that's different.
Yeah, an opportunity. I'm sure that people who have been involved in this camp over the years in different ways would really enjoy the opportunity to contribute hands-on, right? Have the opportunity to be part of some of these repairs. And so that's an amazing way that people can help. And I'm sure when those opportunities come out, we'll be able to share the word that these are the dates and times you can be there. Now, in addition to that, certainly as we know, and it's always a good reminder that our camp also needs to be held up in prayer throughout this time, right? Our future vision as well as our current challenges, right? And we do ask that our members continue to hold up our church in prayer, and that's an important and important not to overlook. way that people can help as well. And so we know that there are going to be these opportunities to volunteer, and we continue to solicit their prayers. And you mentioned that, of course, funds will be needed. Now, if people do choose whichever of these ways that they're able to support us, what are some of the ways that perhaps if they do have the opportunity to give funds, that they're able to do that?
So we do have an active offering code that our members can donate towards. We've had this offering throughout the year, and we actually have a featured Sabbath that offering is highlighted. So at any time, the offering code is open, but there will be designated Sabbaths to contribute specifically to Camp Cedar Falls. And as a nonprofit, we mainly are able to move forward because of the donations of our members. That is how we continue our mission. That is how we move forward. And we are just so thankful to our members because of their generosity, because they believe in this mission is the reason why we're able to move forward.
I'm always just amazed at the generosity of this conference. And the giving of tithe, the local giving to the churches, the giving is amazing, and Camp Cedar Falls itself will not be able to do the vision without some real labor being offered, but also some giving that will go above what we've done before. I've always been one that I don't like just giving. I like to give to a vision, to a possibility. That's why we have this committee, because I'm one who doesn't, when I give something, I don't want it to go in a big hole and just kind of don't know where it goes. I want to know how it's used. I want to know that it went somewhere. Now, when I give to my local church, I know what the local church is doing. I know, but sometimes when you give, you don't know. And I come from a generation that likes to know a little bit, and I'm sure there's those out there that also, and so we want them to see what we're going to do. We have all kind of repairs like the basketball court and the tennis court, which we would like to also mix it with a pickleball court, as long as I don't play it anymore. Because last time I fell and hurt myself quite badly. And we'd like to create a space that recreate that space to be used, and we will, but we won't without contributions and members who see the vision, apply their talents and energy towards that vision, and also the resources that's needed to fund that vision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that we all know that throughout the past almost 85 years, this camp has been such an important piece of our conference, right? This camp has been such an important ministry and has been able to hold so many different events that many of our members have been impacted by.
It is amazing when you talk to members and their memories at camp when they were kids, went to camp. And they found Jesus at camp. Went to the camp and they found Jesus there. He was with them before, they just didn't know. But there somehow out in nature they discovered Jesus is present, and they gave their life to Christ. Others who got deeper into the discipleship. Others that were trained in evangelism, how to do evangelism. Others who just had a Christian fellowship experience there, and they remember it. I mean, they remember the moments that they had with their friends and with Jesus. And it's made an impression on their life. And that impression is something they want their kids to experience, their families to experience. And that's why the camp becomes so important, because of the discipleship and the awareness that young people can be led to Jesus Christ through that camp.
Yeah. What a ministry. What a ministry of this camp, that we have a path forward and a way that we're excited and committed to moving this ministry forward and continuing it in our conference. Yes. And as we've talked about the challenges, certainly, and the difficulties that we've encountered, we also have this future, and we also have this plan. And so I know that we kind of did a brief overview, if you will, of what's been happening and what we hope to happen in the future. But I do want to give each of you the opportunity, if there's any specific question I haven't asked or anything in your mind that you were just waiting for me to ask about or hoping that you could share, if there's anything else before we close out, as we kind of go through all the different questions we had already, I do want to give you the opportunity for any last thoughts.
One of the things that I consider important is to recognize that at one point, and I'm gonna mention clear and straight, we have been at one point not putting too much attention to Camp Cedar Falls. I feel responsible as former leader in the conference as well. And one of the things that now talking with this group or with this committee was one word that they mentioned: ownership. This is something that we missed to involve our members in participating in the vision, and also in the work, in the planning, and everything. So that is the new approach that Elder Kress and the new administration now they want to put into this. Okay, let's bring everybody on the table that we can contribute together to make the difference now there. Yes, okay. Some of the stories that you have heard from members who have visited the camp are true. Some lackings here and there, yeah, that's true. But we have recognized this, that now we can change that image. And that is the vision that our conference leaders, the administration, they had in mind, to change that image. And that's how we are working in this, to have ownership into this.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's so clear with what we've talked about. And as we're moving forward, wanting to kind of pursue this vision together as one.
And this can only happen if we, as a conference, wants it to happen. Sometimes people think, they say things like the conference, and they don't. And when they say that, the conference is over here, and they're over here. But the reality is, we are the conference, and this Camp Cedar Falls is our camp, and I'm proud of the camp. But I'm a person who lives a little bit in my dreams. I dream and think of the future. And if I was focused just on what is right now, I'd say, yeah, we have some disappointing things at the camp, some areas that really need some refreshing. But if we come together as a conference, we have some of the greatest possibilities, because we are located in a place in which people love to be. You can look out across the canyon and you can see the mountains where people ski. They gather over at Bear Lake. They go there for that one reason. Why? Because they want to be out in nature. They can come to our camp, be with the members of their church, or gather with other members from around the conference. Our youth can go there for youth camp. And the experience they can have is so much greater if we, as a conference, all together say, yes, I want this to be my camp too.
Amen.
I want to own it. This is something I'm going to join in. And that's my urge. I'm urging the conference to say, this is our camp. And let's say, if we're going to live there, let's make a place we are proud to live.
Did you have any last thoughts?
It's Camp Cedar Falls. It's an amazing place. It's a place that you can enjoy nature, the quietness, the whole environment of Camp Cedar Falls is such an amazing place to be at. And we've seen how we've encountered so many challenges during the past 4 years. There was this year that we had an increasingly amount of snow, and God protected us. We had a year where we couldn't bring people due to COVID for a whole year, and God protected us. Fire came a mile within our camp. It was like very, very close. From camp, you can actually see the flames, and fire did not touch our camp. So we constantly ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this camp to you? And the only conclusion I can come, it's because God is not done with Camp Cedar Falls. There's still lots of ministry to be done in Camp Cedar Falls. And the support of our members has been greatly. Members have called me in December and say, how can I help? Tell me the projects. And when I would tell them the projects, there was this person that said, oh, wait a minute, you just mentioned Camp Cedar Falls. Tell me more about it. And as I started explaining a little bit more some of the challenges, this person said, oh, I remember going there as a child. I remember going there for summer camp. I'll support. So all I can say to our donors is thank you.
We can say throughout the theme of this conversation that God has a purpose for
Yes.
Camp Cedar Falls. That as we move forward, as we do our part in the repairs and future planning and visioning, as we do our part, God will move the camp forward.
Amen.
Because it's his camp
Yes.
and he has a purpose for it ultimately.
Yeah, he says, behold, I do a new thing at Camp Cedar Falls.
Yeah.
You know, a new camp, a place where there'll be a new tree house, you know, a new bridge, new features. And I'm going to bring people to a new experience with me at Camp Cedar Falls.
Amen.
Amen.
As we've talked about many different things this conversation, and each of you and many different people in our conference office and in our churches have a part in this project, have an investment in this project in different ways. And as we've explored what has happened and what is still to come, thank you each for taking the time to be part of this conversation, to share what you've experienced, what you know, and how we can move forward together.
You're welcome. It's been great to be here.
A pleasure.
Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for supporting our camp. We invite you to join us as we continue to lift up our camp in prayer as we move forward. To stay connected with us and hear about news as soon as we share it, we invite you to subscribe to our email newsletter, which comes out twice a month, and connect with us on social media.